Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to another episode. I think this one is number 16. And today's guest is Dusty Zamecnik. He is a fourth-generation farmer, currently managing one of North America's leading strawberry plant propagators. Continuing his family business of Easy Grow, he has become a pioneer in his industry, bringing him both provincial and national recognition for his work. Not to mention, back in January of 2017, himself and his two cousins started the Hometown Brew Co. This brewery is dedicated to growing and incorporating as many of its own ingredients as possible and is deeply rooted in the local community. I've seen Dusty grow these two companies over many years now, and it is truly humbling to witness. Before we get to today's cocktail, we have a message from our sponsor. Are you looking for the perfect blend of thrilling entertainment, delicious food, and a dash of tradition? Then you need to join us at this year's Norfolk County Fair and Horse Show.
That's right, Drew. This year, Norfolk County Fair is playing on all the stops. From October 8th to the 14th, fairgrounds will be buzzing with 5 nights of heart-pounding motorsports, live music, and much more. Whether you're a fan of monster trucks, demolition derbies, good eats, or anything in between, there's something for everybody.
So mark your calendars, grab your friends and family, and join us at the Norfolk County Fair and Horse Show. For more information and tickets, you can visit their website. We can't wait to see you there. And now for today's cocktail.
Introducing the Easy Blueberry Breeze. In a cocktail shaker, add an ounce of your homemade blueberry syrup. We'll post the recipe on socials and mint leaves. Muddle them together until the mint releases its aroma. Pour in 2 ounces of tequila and lime juice. Fill the shaker with ice and shake. Strain the mixture into a glass filled with crushed ice. Top with club soda. Garnish with a blueberry and lime twist. And now here is Dusty Zamecnik.
Hey you, you're listening to Just Drew, Just Drew, Just Drew.
Yeah. Okay, wait. So you had a radio show.
I did.
How did I not know about this?
Wow. It was like a fun thing to do on Saturdays. And then it started turning into really something when I thought it'd be cool and just like test my verbal skills. I was trying to get better with like linguistics, with my pronunciation, and also things like build up my resume. And radio just seemed like something so off the wall.
Yeah.
And it became started as a drinking thing. And then it became like a weekly Saturday way to connect with the guys back home, because then they would tune in. I was at 1 to 2 p.m. At the radio station on Saturdays. Learned about CanCon. So that's Canadian music. You have to play certain percentages every hour, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, I didn't really follow it because I don't think anybody was auditing a student, in freaking Antigonish, Nova Scotia.
This is out east.
This is out east.
Okay.
Yeah.
Halifax.
In Antigonish, so 2 hours north. Yeah.
Okay.
And then after that, it became like a drinking thing for the pre-drinking for the guys back home that they could tune in. And then my parents started having parties every Saturday in the wintertime with their friends tuning in.
This is sick.
And then would have different guests. And then on graduation, my parents came on as my final guests. And they were there for X-Ring. And then it started getting quite a following that then Power Hour at Split Crow, which was have you been out east?
I have.
Okay, so in Halifax, it's Split Crow. It's like it's like a long reigning student bar that still has really awesome, like power hours, like dollar beer, things like that. They opened one up in Antigonish,
Okay.
and then they asked me to run Power Hour over the radio.
That's so cool.
So then I would change the song every minute. And then the place got inevitably shut down because they can't be doing that. But it was cool. So I was the DJ for Power Hour, but I was off site because it was happening at the bar and I was drinking, but at the radio station.
And you were doing this at the radio station independently?
Independently.
So what would you do? Like rent it?
No, it was free. It was completely free.
Okay.
You sign up for a time slot on the airwaves, and you say you have to apply for what style of music. And it was D-Zam's Country Jams.
Okay.
On 93.3 The Fox.
Okay.
And I played, kind of a little bit of everything. We talked a little bit of fantasy football because I was just starting to learn about it. But otherwise, it was just straight verbiage. I don't even know what we talked about.
So
but it
you
was cool.
just spitball in between music.
That's right. And there was learning the fade ins and all that stuff.
Because you are well spoken when I met you for the first time.
And I appreciate
Very
that.
smooth.
And that's where it was like trying to learn to like have a conversation, not with yourself, but effectively on radio. Like when I didn't have a guest star, or if they were late, but I had to start the show, a variety of reasons.
Yeah.
How to like have confidence, to use your words sparingly, so that trying to make each word count. And I know sometimes I can run on. And that was a skill I was really trying to get better as I was trying to get a sales role at Loblaws, but then inevitably started working for Labatt. And it was just like skills I was just trying to work on, and also confidence, because, I just, you just want to be able to captivate people, keep them interested, be concise, and then move on.
Yeah.
Right. And music was a great thing to move on to, because like, okay, good, conversation's done.
And now here's Katy Perry.
That's right. Honestly, yeah. And so it was a really cool way to work on those skills.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it was free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's super cool. I haven't been on the radio. This is just the internet. But this is pre-podcast days, I would assume so.
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
Yes. And so, learning, fist away from the mic and things like that. And I mean, shit, we were even getting so deep where we were getting people to call in and then learning how to like patch calls.
Oh, that's so cool.
All the things.
I would honestly love people to call in, but we don't have that kind of fan base
soon.
yet.
Soon.
Soon.
But
Yeah.
that would be really cool.
It's like that episode of Parks and Rec where Ron takes over when you watch Parks and Rec. Oh, dude.
No, I'm sorry.
You watch Parks and Rec?
I
Drew?
watched it.
I'm sorry, everybody. I know
don't
Parks and
familiar
Rec
with
is-
this
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like the
I know the show.
Right.
I just don't know all the episodes.
okay.
And- yeah.
Long story short, Ron's a very short-spoken man's man.
Okay.
Loves whiskey and beef.
Yeah, Ron Swanson.
Ron Swanson,
Yes.
that's right.
Mustache. I know the character.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
very
I
burly.
believe her name is not Jean Salvatore. Whatever. Her name is she's the
Yeah.
host of a very small town.
I watched the first season during COVID.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a hard time committing to TV shows.
I don't blame you.
So
Yeah. There's so much out there.
yeah, so I'll dabble a little bit, watch a
Yeah.
season here. I'm like, okay, this is kind of good.
Yep.
And then I'm very ADHD, so I'm like, oh,
Yeah. Squirrel.
yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, this show, this movie. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, cool. Well, thanks for having me.
Thanks for
I
taking the
appreciate
time.
it.
I know
Yeah.
you're fucking busy.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. Yeah.
So what did you go to school for out east?
I got my economics degree
Okay.
from St. FX.
Okay.
I took a year back, went for one extra semester at Trinity.
Okay.
Because I think many of us had Galama for pre-calc, whatever it's called, advanced functions, and I got smoked by her the first round, and then so I came back to upgrade that program, and then moved to Florida for 6 months after that when we were doing some farming down there, and then got to X, graduated in 2013, and then started working for Labatt right away.
Wow.
Yeah.
Doing something
In sales.
in sales.
In sales, yeah.
Okay.
So cousin Tommy was already at Labatt. He was in Halifax at the time. And so I worked at the London office, at the brewery office. But we had no carryover to the brewery guys. And that Southwest District looked after everything up from Tobermory down to Windsor to Simcoe. Turkey Point was in our territory, because weirdly enough, the most lucrative sites, obviously for beer consumption, are our beach areas. And the most beer consumed on a 12-month cycle is always the 120 days of summer. And so we had so much water territory that we unfortunately gave up Turkey Point to the territory next to us that's based out of Ancaster. And so, but when functions were happening at the Hodor, like back then, there was like Bud Light Sensation. Those freaking aluminum can bottles.
Yeah, I think I remember those. Sounds familiar, yeah.
And like those massive white parties at the Sky Dome, like Bud Light Sensation. It was like everybody wore white, and it was just like
I remember the commercial.
crazy
Yeah.
raves. Yes.
Yeah.
And I remember my first ever, like I was like day 4 at Labatt. They were saying, okay, everybody get your allotments for tickets for Bud Light Sensation. And I'm like, I'm a greenhorn, just a brand new, just starting out. They're like, Dusty, don't you want tickets to go? Like it's your fucking job. And in the beer industry is like, it's very like, So the company, so Labatt has been purchased and they've gone very analytical, but still it's beer culture. So it's very alpha, it's very macho. It's, Dusty, how many fucking tickets do you want? If you're not getting tickets, why are you not the right person for this job? Right? Like, you should be asking for this stuff. You should be demanding things, because that's how you're going to win in this culture. So it like flipped your brain to always be asking and always take no.
Assertive.
Like always. If it's an opportunity and you're not asking, hey, I heard about this festival in Oshawa. And because we had, of course, offices, Labatt had offices out there. If you had a free weekend, nothing was happening in your territory, our DSM wanted us to be hearing, or like us to be saying, hey, the shit's going down in Oshawa. I'm going to drive to Oshawa. I'm going to do this stuff. And so I got 2 tickets, brought my buddy Brady. We went to Bud Light Sensation, got completely banged up. And that was the first time ever using the Bud Light or the Labatt card. Was this effectively this gate card to the city of Ontario. And it got us into awesome places. It was a fucking card that, like, I think I could make on Canva, and print, and they gave it to us, and that was the golden card.
I'll make my own.
You can
media passes,
100%,
and it's no issue. Like, I go to these I work for these, at the winery, and I'll shoot the concerts, and they don't print media passes. I just print my own out.
Yep.
And, scare media. Yep, come right in.
1,000%.
Yeah.
It's so that's cool. Yeah, so you do the same. It's I mean, I don't think we should be endorsing it, but it is a great hack.
And I know photographers and stuff that'll do that at airports, and sometimes they get into like the business lounge.
That's right.
I don't know. It works. It does work.
100%.
And those people are actually media.
Yep.
But I don't want people to be.
Yeah. Especially if you're taking a lot of flights out of Pearson, then you're like not allowed to anymore, or you're not. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's dicey.
So Labatt, what beers fall under Labatt? It's a big company.
Huge portfolio.
Huge.
Yeah.
Is it Canadian?
Well, Labatt has been purchased out. So by AB InBev.
Okay.
So InBev purchased Anheuser-Busch, and then so it's a Brazilian. They're based out of Brazil.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so their portfolio is massive. And it was interesting as we were going through, it was almost the demise of Molson, my years at Labatt. As Molson, a lot of contracts were being expired for certain brands, specifically Corona. It was sold, like Corona was sold by their own program. MGD was obviously through Molson and things like that. But so Labatt, understanding where the market was going away from the Labatt 50s of the world, the Labatt Blue, the Blue Lights of the world were being replaced. So they kind of had these innovation brands to combat and be prepared for Labatt's eventual takeover of the ability to sell brands like Corona and Stella, things like that. So Labatt doesn't own Stella, but it's in that portfolio of the AB InBev.
Okay.
So Labatt definitely does have the most widespread category of all of their brands.
Okay.
So I was part of the team that launched Budweiser Crown, brought it to Canada. It's a 6% beer that came on at the time when craft was coming on with high percentage beers. But the downfall of it was you blacked out with it because it's way too fucking strong. And of course, we're in the business of selling volume, not blackouts. And so if it only took you 3 pints to black out, well, it's a pretty bad beer to keep the lights on.
Selling less beer.
Yeah. So that was sort of the start of, I mean, even remember like Lime-A-Ritas? Remember those little tiny cans?
Yep.
That was, we were part of the launch team for the Lime-A-Ritas. And then the whole point of the Lime-A-Ritas is that they were malt based, so they could be purchased in the beer store, which at the time, and I know there's all this stuff going on with, of course, Doug Ford and all this expiry of that contract, the buying out of that contract. But Lime-A-Ritas could be purchased anywhere because of them being malt based.
Yeah.
Then very quickly, the craft industry was still misunderstood. But what was understood was that they can't justify these massive marketing programs, Bud Light Sensation, 6% beers, because they can't get the volume through. So then cue in light lagers, cue in, they even had Alexander Keith's Light. It was a white label. 4% keys. Things like that. And that's where obviously the industry is still going. And
Yeah.
I think they're really pushing the limits with
Even the
even 3% or,
yeah,
yeah.
I've seen that the Heineken non-alcoholic.
That's right.
I know that's pretty big. I know a lot of people who drink the non-alcoholic Heineken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, even with pregnancy and things like that, people getting pregnant later in life with but you still want to be part of these parties and you want to be a social, and you don't socialize as much as you used to as you get older. So when you do go somewhere, you still kind of want that feeling of alcohol, like, for Abby, going to a party when she's 33 or so, doesn't want to get banged up, but she still kind of wants to be around the people and have that flavor of alcohol. And the Corona Sun Brew is a perfect example.
That's
That
a
shit
good
tastes
one.
good.
Yeah.
Is that non-alcoholic?
It's non-alcoholic.
I'm not familiar with
It's
that.
great.
I've had the Heineken. It's good.
Yeah.
It tastes like
pretty good.
Heineken. Yeah.
And I would highly, I don't make any money off this, obviously, but yeah. So that was sort of the program. But what was missing in the craft industry and the macro industry was why we left Labatt. Myself and Tommy. Maddie was just finishing up Western. That would have been 2015. 2015. And so when we were leaving, the craft industry was just 3.4% tops of total beer consumed
Okay.
in Ontario.
Okay.
As a market segment. And then because of the beer stores that were owned by Labatt, we could even go into further segments. Was it bottles? Was it 355 ml cans? Was it 473 ml cans? What was the type of SKU and everything? And the massive category that was missing, while the transition that macro companies were going to light lagers, there was almost this, it was like the word Voldemort, of you do not have a blue can, and you never use the word light in the craft industry, because you may as well be a sellout trying to create Bud Light or Coors Light. And we're like, well, that's pretty fucking stupid, considering like that's the number one seller.
Yeah.
And Miller Lite was coming on the scene at that time.
Yep.
Like they just came in because it was of its huge popularity in the U.S. So that was a priority for us at eventually Hometown, attacking the categories that the craft industry was being very not afraid of, but very
Avoidant.
They were avoidant, yeah, because I think Drew and that they seen how beer was being consumed on the West Coast, which is almost like the mecca of craft beer in North America, and it was large format bottles. It was funky labels and things like that. And I think the funkiest bottle that we ever did was the Saison or the Apricot IPA. And then after that, we've been in tall can and then regular can formats, because it's how people consume beer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so then the rest is kind of history with that program.
What was the whole thing behind the microbrewing? Was it never allowed, and then all of a sudden it was? Like, why did it suddenly pop up in the 2010s? Like, why was it all? Because it was predominantly before, it was just big brand beers, and that was it.
Yeah.
And now microbreweries are huge. They're everywhere. There's like, I don't know how many there are here now just in the county, but a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention Hometown.
Yeah. No, I think what it came to was following trends. Like look at us drinking tequila in LA. The drink of LA, years ago was tequila and palomas, and then tequila sodas, and now pre-mixed tequilas, and all of us now we're drinking tequilas. Now the drink of the West Coast is what they call Sonics.
Okay.
So it's a gin and soda, but because everybody prefers gin and tonic, but then all these people on Ozempic and everybody that's trying to be health nuts, they realize that, holy shit, tonic water is horrible for you. The amount of sugar in that is disgusting. So they make these things called gin and sonics, which is half soda, half tonic.
Yeah.
And so I imagine that, you go to Topo Chico Club Soda is an amazing club soda. It's Mexican, huge on the West Coast. And now you can go to Costco and buy 2 4s of Topo Chico. And now there's Topo Chico hard seltzers called Ranch Waters. And Ranch Waters is all based off of that. So I just think we're always behind the West Coast because they're so influenced through either immigration or just trying to be hip and hop what's happening elsewhere.
Yeah,
and
that's the Hollywood coast.
That's the Hollywood coast.
Vancouver and LA. That's
right.
Yeah.
That ribbon there.
Yeah.
And I just think lastly on the note is the different sense of community that you get from a craft beer area than a bar. And don't get me wrong, I fucking love a good dive bar. But to go to a dive bar every week is different than going to a brewery every week. And I don't know why.
It's different.
You know,
it's
it is.
different. It's
Even
more
if,
classy.
It's right. It's like you ride your bike to the Copper Mug.
Yeah.
If I lived in Tillsonburg, or if I rode the bike to the front porch here 7 days a week, like, fuck that, that guy's an alcoholic. Yeah. Whereas if you ride your bike seemingly to like Hometown or wherever,
there's mountain bike clubs.
and they're doing it, and somehow
and we
it's
see
like,
them as healthy as fit.
yeah, they're healthy
Yeah.
fit people.
Yeah.
And it's weird how this mental thing is like separated between a bar versus a brewery. And I don't know why.
I think a regular at a dive bar, like, oh, this guy's a drunk.
Yes.
But a regular at a brewery, it's like, oh, there's my pal
yeah,
Dusty.
there's my
Like,
pal Dusty. He's a
Yeah.
big supporter.
He supports the community.
That's right.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we're all just small business owners. But I don't know. But our closest is Charlottesville. Like when we don't want to drive all the way to Hometown or the Sea Can or go to the winery or whatever. And we pop into Charlottesville, and it's close, it's easy.
Yeah.
And like that would be like our home thing.
Yeah, and I think the thing with the breweries too, they're all coming up with their own sort of branding and aesthetic.
Yeah.
Like that one, beautiful wooden barn, loft up top, like
Right.
very different from a dive bar.
That's right.
So it's like, ooh, I'm hip, I'm fancy,
Cleaner too. They're always
Hey,
a lot cleaner.
easy.
Well,
No, I know. No, it's fair. No, I mean, actually, I asked for Abby's hand from Peter at the Copper Mug.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, I mean, I love dive bars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
We've gone to the Copper
Oh,
Mug,
yeah,
and I
freaking right.
think we ran into the mayor and he just sat down with us.
That's
We were
right.
just hanging out with the mayor of Tillsonburg.
See, that's a
Eating
beautiful
popcorn.
Thing. That's a beautiful thing.
Popcorn machine way at the back.
Yep.
Yeah.
They unfortunately, obviously, they lost that
COVID.
but whatever. But
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's cool.
Copper Mug's still
Still
going.
rock and roll.
Okay.
Change ownership.
Okay.
Change ownership. But yeah, it's good. We go there on Tuesdays after golf for
Cool.
wing still.
I also love the name.
Yeah.
Makes me think of a Moscow Mule.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Copper Mug. So when did you leave Labatt? What was the transition from Labatt to Hometown?
Yeah. So it was quite the Hometown. We had to deal with a couple non-competes. So the opening and starting of production at Ramblin' Road inevitably for that 6 months didn't technically start until November of 2014. And I was living at the cottage. Oh, no, I wasn't living at the cottage yet. And so I came back to the farm, lived with my buddy Brock on the 11th concession. And so it was just like, let's start figuring out how to, and blueberries seemed like an easy start to get in, just to have a unique recipe flavor, interesting flavor to brew with. Was a really interesting sell to start a launch a brewery after I just gave you the verbiage about light lagers, make it easy drinking. Fuck it, let's make a blueberry saison. We completely contradicted ourselves.
Yeah.
But then we followed it up, of course, with Southern Ale, Southern Light very quickly. But long story short, that was 2014, and then 2015 fall, we pretty much got off to the races. And then as well, we it was like the worst case scenario would have been when I started really come back to the farm and trying to understand what product and what value I was going to bring to the farm. What was like in addition to different styles of commercial plants for new customers, which I was really trying to add.
Yeah. So just to give some context to people listening,
Yeah.
you grew up on a blueberry farm.
That's right. And tobacco.
And tobacco.
Yep.
And this was like your parents, your dad's?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm fourth generation on the farm.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
fourth generation.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And also strawberries,
Yeah. So, it's
but outside.
outside,
Yeah.
just a little bit, just for production, a lot of rose bushes. So that's where a lot of the propagation knowledge from my parents and grandparents came in. Like back in the day, the greenhouse, like you go to like Zayre's or Sobeys and they have those like markets set up in the parking lot. Those before they were owned and ran by, Portuguese mom and pa and an Italian mom and pa and whatever. And then that was their money for the year when they ran this greenhouse stuff and sold soil and rose bushes and flowers and stuff like that. And that was what my grandparents did for 30 years, was selling rose bushes, potted rose bushes, leading up to Mother's Day, to all these independent greenhouses and all these grocery stores all around the GTA, all the way back home. And then like early 2000s, Loblaws and all these grocery stores realized we are like that mama and papa Portuguese, like they're only working for 5 months a year, and then they're going back home and they're making bank off of pricing for $20 for a bag of dirt. We're missing a huge opportunity there. And so that was when those got bought out, or effectively saying you can't rent in our parking lot anymore. It became a very centralized purchasing site. And our farm that was doing upwards of, 150,000 rose bushes a year, which is seemingly a lot, became very negligible. That, okay, Loblaws, we need 150,000 times 40. So if you can't make the order, we're going to go to somebody that can. And so it was the demise of those situations. And it was a perfect segue to focus on other crops, to focus on watermelons, cantaloupes, you name it, it's been grown on the farm. And then the inevitable start of the strawberry plant propagation, which then kind of spurred what we're doing today with very different divisions.
Well, yeah, and you kind of pioneered that whole. How much can we talk? I don't want to talk about like business.
Yeah.
Is it okay to?
I use the word pioneering sparingly, because like there was it just more so just trying to figuring out, and I think it was like the speed that we really put energy. Like I was single, the only really commitment I had was Dirks, my dog, and so I just just every day, all day, was trying to feel this feeling in my gut that I've never felt before of this is the right thing to do.
Coming
I don't
from
know what it is.
Economics,
Yeah.
Labatt, and then farming.
To farming.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, this is the drive, like that I wasn't getting at the company, that at Labatt. This is the drive. Even like, I mean, shit, school's fun, but you're like, you didn't really have that drive. And then suddenly it's like, okay, I don't know where these customers are, but this plant just makes sense. And very fortunate to have the support of mom and dad of that, like while everything was going on, to be like, okay, yeah, like, fuck it. If you think that this tray plant thing is going to be something, then you better, then yeah, we'll support you and whatnot. And the only way then that's when I started meeting like Brett Schuyler, Drew.
There's another Drew?
No, oh shit.
How dare
no.
he?
Oh no, his brother's name's Drew.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yes. So in kind of getting involved then with the Norfolk County Agriculture Advisory Board, right? And Hayden Dooney and things like that. And then from there, attacked it, got on to the provincial board, the federal board, and finally it was the federal board when the president how it really started was 10 days prior to that. I got an email from a gentleman down in Leamington, Kingsville, and I thought Kingsville was north of Toronto, so I had no idea what the fuck was going on. He said, I'm starting up a at-home grocery delivery business, and I want 2 flats of strawberries delivered every week for 52 weeks of the year. And this was in 2017. It's like, okay, like A, you're 2.5 hours away. And B, blueberry season in Ontario is only 6.5 weeks, 7 if you're lucky. I said, yeah, well, you know what? I'm sorry, dude, but like it's just not feasible. Maybe we'll if your business ever expands, then we can talk. I had an opportunity to fly to Ottawa to represent blueberries, Ontario blueberries at the company, or effectively they're the lobbyists for Canadian horticulturalists.
Okay.
sitting at had a man bun at the time, and just this kid, and I just remember sitting at this table with all these older people, and they said, "Hey, like, you're Dusty Zamecnik, you grow strawberry plants." Yeah. Well, you should figure out what's going on in Leamington.
Which is kind of the capital
of greenhouses.
Yeah, okay.
That's right. And they're like, "Well, you grow strawberry plants. Well, they can't get a quality plant that they need for their research and development facilities. Go figure it out." Okay. Can you give me a name at all? Like, can you give me a name? Like, I'm just not going to drive to Leamington.
Yeah.
And they said the name. And I said, "No fucking shit." I go back to that email from that at-home delivery guy. So, like, shit.
Same guy.
Same last name. So I was like, I called him. I emailed him. Said, "Hey, by the way, are you getting into greenhouse strawberries?" Because, and I explained this where I'm at. Conference the lunch finished. We resume meetings. I get a call. "Dusty, how the fuck do you know what we're doing?"
Oh.
"Oh, okay." I'm like, I just explained the situation, and you said similar last name. "Okay, I'll drive up next week. Let's talk." This complete stranger. 7 days later, I was on a flight to the Netherlands with this complete stranger, researching greenhouse strawberries, researching plant types, and my world changed ever from getting involved with it. And if it wasn't for that situation, I wouldn't have the life we have today because of that exact moment. And I'm almost positive of it because it opened up our world. It opened up that feeling, that fire got bigger in my stomach, and it changed our family's life trajectory. I think for the better.
Yeah, from traditional farming to this. Is it hydroponic?
You could call it hydroponic, but it's really controlled environment.
Okay.
Yeah.
But no soil.
It's
a little bit.
So it's called substrate.
Okay.
So I mean, you look at this shit, you think it's soil, but it's peat, cocoa, and perlite.
Okay.
But from a legal standpoint and from shipping whatnot, it's not soil because it's organic matter.
Okay.
Because it's
it's
peat.
not dirt.
It's not dirt. No. Yeah.
It's kind of like those homegrown kits you get, and they're like pucks, and you water it, and then go.
So that's 100% cocoa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's 100% cocoa. So that's cocoa is a part of it, is a part of the mix. And so now we work on different mixes for different varieties that have different water holding capacities or water requirements. So we're always changing that ratio. But yeah, effectively that's what it is.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And was the Netherlands, like, at that point, Canada wasn't doing it at all?
No, and we were just trying to, so now we're talking about Labatt and really consolidation of brands. And the same thing kind of is happening with Loblaws and all the major grocers. It's unfortunate kind of about the family farm, but they're understandably kind of lazy and they want brand recognition on the grocery shelves. So, like, you want to go and, I mean, I'm not a promoter of Driscoll's, but Driscoll's has strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, and raspberries, and you see the brand and okay, awesome. The same thing is kind of happening with vegetables. I mean, everybody is inherently somewhat lazy. So Loblaws calls up the Apple Place, Norfolk Packers. Okay, I know I can get all my apples in one call. I'm done. You ship me apples 12 months a year. I don't got to worry about it. It's done. I don't got to go and call every 10-acre apple patch, right? The same thing with vegetables with the marketers down in Leamington. They grow tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, eggplants, and they were getting asked, be like, why don't you start giving us a fruit category as well? And so that's kind of where that evolved into, is that they had this gap in production and I'm still a large promoter of produce out of Florida and the Eastern Seaboard. Not only because like they're a large part of our business, they're also great people, and we all need each other to fill the shelves because of different production dates. And so it's not like you can go completely Florida, and I don't think that you can go completely greenhouse. They all need to complement each other for both prices, varieties, and people how they taste. So it was part of that marketing program of consolidation and availability that these companies were providing. yeah, that's kind of why the greenhouse market was this perfect gap, but it would the plant types were not understood, and so that was 2017, I think 2017, 2018, and now it's 2024, and we're making some headway with what the program looks like. Lost a lot of money, obviously doing a lot of bootstrapping and understanding what that program is, what those protocols are, because we were all doing it together, and there's a very small, limited amount of people that were kind of cowboying it. And so that was an interesting time to try to understand what the hell the protocols are. Yeah, so it's neat.
Was this guy in Leamington doing the same system?
He was looking for plants.
I see.
And the plants he was getting weren't what he was trying to achieve, because they were delinquent, they were juvenile, they were whatever. And we've had, believe me, we've had our fair share of problems. And I don't want to sit out here on Mount Pius thinking I'm perfect, because we are far from perfect. And we ourselves, and as the propagator, everybody's like our plants. It's I'm only as good, you're only as good for a certain point, and as the plant I deliver you. And so, I mean, for a decent amount of the production cycle, is really reliant on how good of a job I do.
And there's that span.
Yeah.
Like how long from start to finish, and everything in between there has to go right.
That's right.
And you could go make it to the 90th percent, and then something goes wrong in that last 10%, and you're fucked.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's rough.
It is. Yeah, it is. And a lot of it happens in the last 7 days because the plant is moving so fast.
Yeah.
And so that's been interesting. Just learning the stress points, and learning for me as a leader when to get stressed, when to tell our younger growing staff, be like, pull your head out of your ass, pull it together. You got this. This is not a stress point. This is a point that this will come with experience. Whereas other times it's like, oh no, this is fucking bad. Yeah. So
I remember coming by when you were always level-headed, and you were level-headed there, but I know you well enough. I could tell you're stressed, but I was taking pics or something for tourism or whatever. But I remember there was a big block that something happened, and it was, you were a little stressed out about it.
Yeah.
It was a lot of plants.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, no, it's been fun getting that confidence level.
Yeah.
And I mean, just like yourself and yourself too, Drew, it's like, I only have so much money. What are the things I need? What's the dream list? And what are the things that people sell to me that I know I just don't need? Right? I'm sure it'd be great to have fucking automatic ice injectors into the bath so that you don't have to pour ice in. Yeah. Right? But do you really need that? No. And does it justify itself? No. Right? And like things like that. Whereas maybe I don't know if you have a cooler that makes ice, that way you don't gotta you know what I mean? Things like that.
Yeah.
And that's been the interesting part, has been, what are the things we need, and at how much can we injure ourselves and our confidence in our plants before we learn when to spend it. Right? I would love to have 10 water filters, but having none isn't an option. But at what point do I buy the next one?
Yeah, where's the balance?
Right, where's that balance there? Because at some point, I could buy all 10, but I'll probably be broke because I can't charge enough to justify it, right? And so that's just a limited example. But, and also at what point, how many plants can I survive for plants to die at my customers or not be proper before they say, fuck Dusty, we're going to go to the other guy? And that's been, I think, the hardest thing with all of this. Because we've been really trying to learn so fast, set standards for our competition to now follow, because of course our program is being emulated by others now, which is fair. Like, we need healthy competition, and we're not going to ever have 100% of the market, which we don't want. At what point can we say, enough's enough, that's what we can get in, that's what we can afford to charge, and that's the technology we need. And that's a huge thing now too. We're really expanding with our research center, hiring local, and as well getting University of Guelph kids, moving them down and having them as growers and offering really unique growing job opportunities, and living here in Langton, living here in Cultus.
Yeah, I think you had some co-op students when I was around.
Yeah. And they've been turning out great.
Yeah, testing things and science stuff.
And that's always been a dream of like, how the fuck am I going to afford like, God knows how much we pay them for testing fruit and plants.
Yeah, what's the exact ratio?
And what am I going to get out of it?
And,
Like, and so that's been fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
And you sell the plant itself, not the berry.
That's right. The plant.
But the odd berry will grow. And I remember tasting it. And it was the best fucking strawberry I've ever had in my life because I think it's just so concentrated.
Yeah, that's right. All that energy goes to that one.
Oh, it was like a strawberry on top of a cake you would get. Like I couldn't. Amazing.
Yeah. Thank you. And that's then the next part is like, okay, now we have these protocols and we're learning them. Now it's protocols for new varieties from around the world. And that's where Easy Grow continues to keep expanding into, is harboring global relationships with plant breeders to really get the best varieties, get them legally here, and even if the variety comes from, I don't know, Nova Scotia, it doesn't matter. We want to go get it. We want to get it here legal. We want to expand it and offer the best berries for then our customers, which means great tasting berries for the customers, right?
Did you start out with one variety?
We started out with three.
Okay.
It was one, and that one did not work. We lost, I think year over year for a couple of years, it was like I think we almost lost $750,000 in that program. And
I don't mean to laugh, but like, my God.
Yeah, so it was nuts. So Farm Credit Canada.
We can laugh now.
Yeah, we can laugh now. Yeah, no, it was nuts. It was a very early lesson for a 25-year-old to like feel
that's
the
young.
Loss.
You're a child.
Yeah, child. Yeah, and here's like my dad being like, there goes the program. Like we can't do this, but he never had that mentality. It's like, okay, well, we can't do that ever again. But
not that.
But okay.
And what was it? Just the variety that you picked? Was it the luck of the draw?
It was an up and coming and a blister in the sun variety that was being actively and heavily promoted in the Netherlands and in Europe. And so we were being told by the customers that this is the variety you got to get. Learn it, Dusty. Learn it. Okay. We went and learned it. And as fast as it came in, it went away. And we built a greenhouse for it and coolers and all this other stuff. And then at the end of the day, just nothing ever sold. And
was that happening to other growers as well with that same variety?
No, because we were the only ones.
Oh.
So we took on all of that risk.
And then everybody was like, "Whoa, thanks for letting us know. Not gonna go with that one."
That's right.
Yeah.
So, and I think there's honor, right, in this. That was never forgotten. Where are we at? Perfect. That was never forgotten by our customers, by the people that we went through the mud through. It's sort of unspoken. Like these things were never really discussed, being like, man, we fucked up. So now we're gonna order plants from you because of this. Like that's so far gone. Like like that's 8 years ago, but it's never been forgotten because we went through the trenches and have been really trying to understand this. That's been a huge integrity piece for Easy Grow, that we live through the trenches and are constantly trying to understand what the plant needs to be and what it certainly doesn't need to be. And so that was an interesting time in life.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So your customers kind of realize that?
Hopefully. And that's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. Like, they realize that shit, like that was wrong.
Yeah.
But who was there for when it was wrong, and then who diversified and flipped the script really quickly, and it's always been Easy Grow, right? And I think that has been a huge, I think for gaining merit and having and earning your stripes.
Mm-hmm.
That's big.
And you're also involved with Hometown at the same time.
At the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, Hometown is like, trying to expand. So like, while this is going on, I'm driving up to fucking Jack Astor's on Richmond Row or to sample Blueberry Saison and Southern Ale. And it's like, fucking getting home at 11. And then
because you're doing
we're gonna
sales and marketing.
It's like, Jesus Christ, man. And like, putting on kilometers and using, it was a crazy time in life. Awesome to be single. For it, went through a really bad relationship that couldn't have been happier that it ended.
I won't pry.
Maybe
after.
I hope she's listening. But
Shout out to
no, it's
whoever
good.
you are.
But no, it was truly Dusty time, and the family got even closer, which was huge.
And I got to say, your parents are just beauties.
Thank you.
Beauties, just beautiful souls.
Thank you.
So I'm always excited to see them.
No, thank you. Yeah,
yeah.
they're special people.
I'm also shocked that you're a single child because you don't show, single child syndrome, only child syndrome, they call it.
Yeah.
You don't have that at all. And I'm just
Thank you.
kind of taken aback by it.
I think because I don't know. I mean, in our family, we were just taught to give. And I just think that was never really, that just never really was a part of my thing to take. And maybe sometimes to a negative. But I appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's, I carry that proudly. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You carry this, I don't know, like this vibe about you. So
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I know people with siblings, but the gap's too much.
Yep.
It's like 6-7 years, and they have that kind of like only child syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
It's,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I see it and carry over like through multiple people. And it's like, yeah, I notice it.
Yeah.
Not in you though.
No.
No.
Thank you. Thank you. No, it's it's how we live.
Yeah.
It's good.
And your parents work hard. Like I remember, I came and shot like the blueberry packing process, and they're in the thick of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's that's you never had an opportunity to sit back because it wasn't. And now I'm not saying that it's the only way to live, because like there was a lot of things sacrificed, and now it's like trying to find the balance with now my family. It's like, do I want Palmer to only know work? Because effectively that was my parents. It's like yes and no. It's like
Farming culture in general.
farming culture and entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
It's like, do I want her to have that? I mean, yes. It's always great when it works, but otherwise you can just work yourself to the fucking bone for what? And that's where really trying to, as a new father, obviously she's only 11 months old. So I think we have time to figure what that balance is going to be. But that's going to be I think what is going to be an interesting part to bring to fatherhood.
Yeah. And trying to learn how to outsource your workload.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That might be the only way.
Yeah, no, very fortunate with a solid team.
Yeah.
A team that believes us also. I mean, you don't want to throw money at things, but being able to, we're not paying people millions of dollars, but being able to afford people to live back here in Norfolk, get a house, be a part of something that's growing. We're obviously we're an old company, but we're a young company because of what we're doing. We're able to attract great talent. And because of that, people really want to learn the plant and learn the program and be a part of the trial center and see the different avenues and go around the world. Like we're sending 3 growers to the Netherlands in November, and like, oh wow, like maybe if in a couple of years I can be part of that tour, right? That's helping the workload, because otherwise 5 years ago it was just bootstrapping and Daryl and Dusty and Helen and Dirks, and a couple of the guys that were so stretched so thin. It's neat being able to offer these opportunities now.
Yeah. And you have quite the volume of workers now.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah. It's fun.
And I like, if I can talk about it during COVID, I thought it was really cool that you like made your own grocery store.
That was my mom and Abby.
That was so cool.
Mm-hmm.
And so they didn't have to go into town and expose themselves. And
Yeah.
that was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, I mean, you know, yeah. Without getting too deep in the weeds, it's like, yeah, here's my mom at the time was what, 50 or 59 going into town to go to these groceries so that the boys could be healthy. And, you know, and like that, you know, and the guys never forgot that. And and that's when we worked with Mac Myers, who is still at GFS at the time. And I pitched this idea to Mac about these on-farm store ideas. And GFS, I'll always be a promoter of GFS because of Mac, but also that they were like, hey, thank you, because I think they did it at a couple other farms because of it. And they kind of created this idea because restaurants were obviously way down.
Yeah, so their supplies is going down.
Supplies were going way down.
Yeah.
I'm like, perfect. This is great to move product through the chain. And they GFS threw us like a big party for the guys. I mean, they didn't throw us a party.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Mac
like they
threw you a
donated a
party.
bunch of chicken.
Oh, that's
and
sick.
all this other stuff as a big thank you. And I mean, but that's it's cooperation. Yeah. You know,
When I find a lot of farmers here are so close with, what's the proper term? I say offshore worker.
yeah.
There's a bunch. I
yeah.
don't know what the proper one is,
I mean,
but people who come here,
I don't know what's politically correct anymore.
I don't either.
Yeah.
But that's what I say.
We call them offshore.
Offshore workers.
Yeah.
But like even, like Amanda Dooney and them, like they'll be in their kitchen having dinner
Yep.
with them. So they have like such a close relationship with them. And like I have such close relationship with the guys at the winery.
Yeah.
I invited them to my wedding.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're pretty good friends.
An interesting part on that, honestly, can I have a beer?
Yeah. Help yourself. Please. Not a lot of guests
No.
do that.
Really?
I tell them there's drinks in here. Please help yourself.
I was always too shy.
I haven't stocked it in a while, but there is a stout in there. If you like stouts, there should be an okay variety.
Can I do this one?
Yeah. Yeah.
One of the parts that hurts of getting bigger, and it's something that I'm trying to figure out as a company because we've grown so fast, is make the comment about the guys inside the kitchen, right? And or like that intimate relationship. It's very hard to go from like my bedroom as a young kid was right above, like right beside the bunkhouse when we only had 5 guys from Trinidad, and I could hear them playing Nintendo at night, and I could hear them playing music and, you know, going out, and I didn't know what smoking pot was, but I knew, you know, I'd looked out the window and they'd be smoking at like, you know, 10 o'clock at night. Knowing everybody's first name, last name, who their wives was, how many kids they had, when their birthday was, you know, did they like, you know, beef or you know, or do they do not eat all this other stuff? It's really difficult, and I'm trying to manage this company while also keeping the core culture of what made Easy grow. And it's really, I think that's right now the biggest balance, because you see that stripped away from you. It's almost like, it's like the honeymoon phase of dating somebody, right? You know how good it was at the beginning, right? And then suddenly now it's, you know, year 10, and it's like, you're not sick of your wife or you're not sick of your girlfriend, but you're like, it's changed, right? Because you've gotten older and you've gone through the shit. But you remember how cool the honeymoon phase was. And you knew the honeymoon phase is the reason why you're still together, right? Because like, hey, that's when it's you and your partner in the rawest nature and the rawest version of yourself. And that's what I'm trying to do with this with Easy Grow now. But there's only 24 hours in a day, and you have a kid, and you know, you're trying to be a husband, and you're trying to also make sure you pay the bills and the interest payments. But you're also trying to remember, don't forget what got you here, you know, and don't forget the boys. Don't forget the guys.
Oh, and they're so key to this whole area.
They're huge.
Yeah.
And so it's you know, it's not an uphill battle, but it's a constant reminder of just like your people are everything. You know, you're not like last night, the guys worked till almost midnight loading trucks. I came home at 6 o'clock at night because I have a daughter. You know what I mean? And then,
So you're not out there with
I'm
them.
not out there with them.
Yeah.
Whereas like when we were smaller, you better believe I was out there loading trucks with them.
Yeah.
How do you balance that? So
It's like, how do you carry over the original culture into something that's expanded?
that's right. So that the new guys know what the original culture was.
Yeah.
Right?
I've seen that with Eco because I got there in 2014. I think they opened in like 2009. So like 5 years in. So it was very tight knit.
That's right.
Core group, and most of my friends now are all from Eco.
Yep.
And it's grown so much now. It's such a big company, and the culture is so different.
Yeah. Like, do they still do the rental thing down there and party their asses off by the sandbar?
I don't know. No, so that place is gone.
Shut up.
Whispering Pines, they cleared it.
Oh.
It was bought, and they have two big cottages there now.
Okay.
One in behind the other.
And see things like that sucks.
Yeah.
You know, because that's your culture building.
Well, and we used to get together as maybe 20 employees.
Yeah.
And it was fine, but now you can't do that because now there's, I don't know, 50, maybe more. So like, how do you maintain that same, closeness? But now it's expanded.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
That's
So
right.
the culture changes, and I don't even know if it's possible to keep it the same.
Yeah. No, it's a part of growth.
Part
right?
of growth. Yeah.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
But also, it's not always negatives.
no.
Because at the end of the day, like the guys when we were like, they were only working say 38 hours a week. Now the guys are getting 60 hours a week, right? So it's, yes, we don't have the culture, but again, I made the comment that money doesn't solve everything, but it helps,
Yeah.
right? The fact that they're sending more money back home and they're supporting their family now more than ever,
Yeah.
because we can offer that opportunities. Okay,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You pick one.
Yep. And like even with the folk, like just the culture changes over time because
Yeah.
we live different lives now.
That's
and,
right.
I don't see Eric, like, especially in COVID, we would see Eric almost every day because there's nothing else to do.
Mhm.
And now I see him once a week, maybe.
That's right.
So,
That's right.
Yeah, it just, things change.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah. So, and now can I talk about the other thing that you're doing? Like the bigger thing, the expansion?
Well, yeah.
Okay. I don't know.
Yeah, no, we're just we're just trying to really now again talk about opportunities, getting our staff that we like these opportunities, and really trying to find where else we continue fitting in this market. It's just continually expanding if it makes sense financially and penciling out, and so just putting up some more acreage to just keep being able to satisfy this market,
Yeah.
and where supporting more and more areas in the continent with more plants.
So where do your plants go?
From here to Missouri to British Columbia, down to Florida, and everywhere and kind of like that triangle. The only time we ever cross the Rockies is the Delta in British Columbia.
Okay.
Otherwise, everything is, if you want to call it the East Coast, for the most part.
And do they know about you? Are you reaching out to them? Like how are you building these relationships?
Yeah, it's kind of coming through from associations.
Okay.
Being able to, very fortunate to be a part of, being asked to talk at different conferences and whatnot. That's been a huge win. And
Didn't you win some kind of national award?
I lost the national award.
How do you lose an award? Once you get it, you have it.
Well, they didn't. It's not like they took it away from me.
You're nominated?
So I won the Ontario award.
Okay.
Went to nationals.
Okay.
And I think there's 9 territories or 8 territories to win. And I wasn't one of those national winners.
I see.
Yes.
You are in my heart.
Thank you. I
Oh.
appreciate that. I appreciate that. Well, it's interesting, Drew. Like the another one of the losers, quote unquote, from Manitoba, had an absolute blast with Brent Oswald, hilarious guy, and he was, because the Ontario, like the farm show is happening in Woodstock right now, and they always come to it, and so he was down on Monday.
Okay.
And so he came to visit, and it's always good seeing Brent.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was a huge thing. Again, I was single, and just it was neat to be recognized by actually Murray Porteous, who the Doonies bought his apple orchard.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is that apple orchard?
I don't want to speak illy. I just know like somewhere there on Hillcrest there was
Suncrest,
one of So so it's interesting.
It's a cool place.
It is.
And I don't know. They have a row of apple trees. They're old. Like I got 80 years old or something.
Oh wow.
And they're still making apples.
Yeah.
And they're creepy looking. They look like those trees from like Snow White.
Yep.
And they're all like bent and out of shape and like coolest trees you'll ever see. But they still grow apples, which is shocking to me. I don't know anything about agriculture and farming.
I know fuck all about apples, honestly.
Really?
I know when they bloom.
Yeah.
I know you got to prune them.
I know when they bloom because I like it for photography.
Oh yeah.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Speaking of blooming, I think it'd be so cool to go to Japan for the cherry blossom.
Ooh.
There's a row of them in Burlington. You ever see those ones?
No.
I think they might actually be from Japan originally, but there's a row of these cherry blossoms right by the water there, kind of where they do Rib Fest.
Okay.
And it's stunning.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
Hyde Park in Toronto has them too.
I was gonna say, I remember always seeing like people Instagram Toronto.
Yeah.
I don't know if they all have to come from Japan or if you can cultivate them here. Or...
Like we have one. I got one for Abby's birthday 3 years ago. The thing just fucking took off.
Huh.
And I got it from Ryerson.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
they're beautiful.
Maybe a nice gift, actually.
Just eat some sushi under it, and you're in Japan.
And
There
Bob's
you
your
go.
uncle.
Right. Pretty much. Do you have an excuse to go to Japan for strawberries yet, or what?
Yeah. So we're
Of course you do.
Really? Wow.
we just had some people from South Korea, and we also have some Tokyo people that were here as well. We're starting to grow their genetics.
Okay.
On an exclusive deal for their breeders or for their production houses. It's actually pretty wild. 100% picked by robots
Where?
in New York,
Okay.
upstate New York and New Jersey. 100% picked by robots.
Whoa.
Fucking nuts.
What do we think about that?
Are you going to get a robot?
Yeah. So cousin Tommy, who's now our CFO, like Maddie's brother,
Yeah.
is trying to swindle a deal to get one of these robots because it will constantly do all of your scouting for you using AI.
Oh my God.
And so it'll learn, okay, that's a bloom, or like in our standpoint for growing plant material, it'll go up and down and like tell you constantly updating. This is how many tips or runners you're at, and hey, you have a hot spot of bugs here, or hey, you got a bunch of blooms here they need to cut, or things like that. And it's all picked by robots.
A robotic
Just like
inspector.
so
Yeah.
What does this thing look
information.
like? It's just covered in camera.
If you can imagine, yeah, I
I
imagine
have
it
an
looks
image
like,
in my head, but
yeah.
like, does it have arms?
I don't
Will
know.
it make a martini?
I just think of Cogsworth from Fallout. Do you ever watch?
Yes.
Yes.
That's
yeah.
kind of what I have in my head.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly. Just has wheels and versus being able to float through some sort of propane torch.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm actually when Abby's gone. Actually, when Abby's like doing yoga with you guys, and I put Palmer down, I'm doing my third playthrough of Fallout 4.
Okay.
Third or fourth. Yeah.
So I've never played the games. Watched the show.
Watch the show.
Love the
Have
show.
you watched the
Good.
show?
I watched the show. It was good.
Okay.
It made me want to play the video game.
So you just got to be mindful which one to play.
Okay.
I was
heard
told
there's-
Vegas is really good.
New Vegas is the best.
And number 3.
Yeah.
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 The
3's
best
good.
ones.
3's good because you have the opportunity. It's like really early in the game, so this isn't a spoiler, to blow up Megaton. So that's cool.
Okay.
It depends, but like what's annoying about the new Fallouts is that they don't have the karma traits. So, and that's why people trash like Fallout 76, Fallout Shelter, which is trash, and even Fallout 4. Fallout 3 and New Vegas have the karma. So everything you do has an impact
Matters.
on
I see.
factions.
Yeah.
So like if you blow up a town, obviously you're gonna get like vilified in that town, and people like trash you, and the vendors won't sell you guns and ammo. Whereas that feature was ripped away in Fallout 4.
I see. You blow
And
up a
it's-
town. They're like,
So
welcome
yeah,
back.
fucking yeah, welcome back. That never happened. And it's actually really neat. I watched this YouTube video about the script tree comparing all the Fallouts, and the script tree for Fallout 4 was absolute trash. It's just like you like deviate minor, and then it always comes back. And it's really unfortunate.
It's less like engaging and less
That's right. Yeah,
in the game.
It's tough to make your character that way because you pretty much have 3 inevitable outcomes from 4 factions, and it's garbage. So I was told by a very reputable friend who's actively involved in the gaming industry that there will be an announcement soon about Fallout.
Does he work for Bethesda?
No, he doesn't. Yes.
But he knows something.
That's
something. Bethesda, right?
But Microsoft bought Bethesda.
Did they?
Which was like all of the truthers were up in arms. Because they're like, oh, it's like Anheuser-Busch buying fucking Hometown. You're like, what the fuck? Yeah, you know? So they got bought out last year. But what's the other? I don't play the other game that they come with. I never.
You ever play Wolfenstein?
Skyrim, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think Skyrim's the newest one. Hasn't even been released. Hasn't even been announced when that's going to come out yet.
Oh wow!
And because they go back and forth, Skyrim and Fallout. And so if Skyrim hasn't been announced, then definitely they won't have one for Fallout.
Okay.
But I mean, it's about
I don't often play single player games because, well, my brother lives in PI now, so that's kind of how we stay in touch as games. So I usually play multiplayer. Just stay in touch with friends I don't see all the time.
Yeah.
And that's my dedicated time to video games. So it's rare that I play single player. But I haven't played Fallout, but I've played Wolfenstein, which is Bethesda.
Okay.
You heard of Wolfenstein?
I've never.
It's like alternate universe as if the Nazis won.
Oh.
But this guy...
Oh. I have seen YouTube shorts on this.
Fucking sick game.
Is it?
It's awesome.
Okay, and you have dialogue options, right?
Yes.
Yes.
I don't know. I haven't played in a long time.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got a concussion in Ultimate Frisbee out of all sports.
Did you get hit by the Frisbee?
No, my own player. Knocked me out cold.
Shut up.
I don't think you're supposed to be watching TV and lights and stuff when you have a concussion. But
No.
I played Wolfenstein because there was nothing else to do.
Yeah.
I was just kind of chilling for a week. So I ripped through this game, and it was Bethesda, and I never really played a Bethesda game before, and I was blown away.
No doubt.
The story is great. The action's great. Super violent. Like, if you shoot a guy's leg, the leg blows off.
Sick.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, and you can dual wield shotguns, and like the storyline is amazing.
Yeah.
But it's pretty much, like an alternate history.
Right.
Yeah. If you ever watch Man in the High Castle,
Never in my life.
same kind of concept as that game.
Okay.
Highly recommend that show as well.
Cool.
But anyways, not to go off track. But
Yeah.
I kind of forgot you were a little bit in the video games.
Yeah. No, that's I've been a Fallout guy for quite some time.
Sick.
Never on PC. I think what's the I think a PS4. This is a PS5 now, right?
Yeah, I have the PS5. Yeah.
I have the PS4.
Okay.
I've never upgraded.
Okay.
I think that's And so I played Fallout 1 on computer,
Okay.
and then 3.
That was turn-based then, wasn't it?
It was turn-based,
Yeah.
big time.
Yeah.
It's a very difficult game. It's tough going to 1 after playing 3.
Okay.
Because I just have to remember how to like get back to places, just because it's not as easy as just like turning around and just going.
Yeah.
So Fallout's sick.
Cool.
I can't wait for season 2.
My brother loves it and speaks highly of it. So
Yeah.
and everyone that plays the game or hardcore fans also love the show.
Yeah.
Which is great because I'm a Halo diehard fan.
Okay.
And the show obviously tanked.
So I watched it and I never really got through it.
I went on a rant in a different podcast episode about it.
Okay.
I don't want to go on another rant because the people who listen to this all the time are like, he's ranted about this already. But yeah. It's just, Master Chief, the character.
Yeah.
Never takes his helmet off.
Yeah.
Ever.
But meanwhile, most of the show, his helmet's off. He's
First
just wearing a
episode.
freaking muscle shirt.
Yeah. Like Under Armour clothing.
Yeah. I know.
Like, what are you doing? You like essentially strip away the entire character.
Yeah.
It's kind of, it sucks.
Huh.
But I don't know. There's rumors of Christopher Nolan possibly picking the show up.
Oh.
And I don't know if he'll redo it
Right.
or continue it and just change it. Who knows? But yeah, that would be good.
To each their own. Yeah.
To each their own. Well, strawberries, blueberries, beer. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah. I hope we covered some substance.
I think
Yeah,
we covered
yeah.
substance.
We did. Okay. Good.
And more.
Okay.
Yeah. Is there
Awesome.
anything I didn't touch on that you want to talk about?
No, this has been a casual chat.
Yeah.
I like.
Did you say 5 or 5:30?
I mean.
Well, let's go for another half. No,
Yeah.
it's 5 now,
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah.
we can wrap
sure.
it up.
Perfect.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
This
everybody.
is awesome down here.
Thank you. It's kind of a work in progress. So, well, we started it in Simcoe when I had the rental.
Yep.
So I couldn't make anything permanent.
Yep.
And now this is like the 3rd episode here, I think. So we're just trying to figuring out what works and then make it permanent.
Yep.
Permanently hang lights and kind of get the flow for it. So
Works for me. Yeah.
yeah, it's supposed to be a hangout.
Yeah.
Yeah, like an experience.
Yep.
Make a drink, get a pick.
Downtown Langton.
Downtown
Oh, yeah.
Langton.
You know, this is special.
Never would have thought I would live here my entire life.
Welcome to the West Side.
Born and raised
You know
in
what?
Hamilton.
This is from born and raised in Hamilton to downtown Langton.
Yep.
Yeah, beside the old RBC.
Yep.
And congratulations. Welcome to our side.
Thank you.
Yes.
And there's that thing about you're supposed I'm on the west side technically because I'm on this side of the street.
You're on
This
this.
is kind of the cutoff.
Yes.
Yeah.
59's a cutoff.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a couple cutoffs that are pretty important on this side.
I see.
You are south of 3.
Yep.
Okay. So you got that into you. You are west of 59.
By like 20 feet.
That counts, though. Okay. That counts.
Yep.
The one that you're missing
Okay.
is south of 45.
Ah.
Okay. That's the last quadrant but you
I
know,
would've
2
been-
for 3 is pretty
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
That's like hardcore.
That's hardcore.
South of 45.
Now I'm south of 45. Now I was never south of 45 because all of our farms were similar situation, just like literally butted up to 45. And then I bought our farm in 2017. Actually, signed the deal in Ramblin' Road on a pallet of Dakota Pearl beer. Is that
That's cool.
Dakota Potato Beer, whatever that the
forget what their
DPA
beer
is.
was.
The
Yeah.
DPA is, yeah. So so signed the deal there to be a true south of 45er. That's, I mean, now you're talking like cultist shit. Like, yeah.
Representing, yeah.
Shout out to Cultus.
Yeah, you are like, you're like Sandhills people.
Where did you even get this shirt? Did you make it?
No.
Oh, it's General Store.
Cultist General Store.
Oh.
So like this was like the mecca of like buying beer underage. Shouldn't probably promote that. But
I was gonna-
yeah.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
10
Yeah.
years there, you're
But,
right.
but yeah, Cultus was, I mean, I didn't even know agency stores were a thing other than Scotland. So Scotland had their agency store as well as Cultus. Other than that, agency stores weren't a thing. Like to buy beer at a store? Like what the heck are you talking about? And so we would go to Cultus on the way to Long Point and load up on back then Palm Bays before, we had like gut rot.
Yeah.
And
That just
yeah,
hurts my stomach
the
too.
mangoes.
Oh, Twisted Teas now too, same thing.
Oh God, yeah.
Man, what you could get away with in your 20s.
In your 20s,
Yeah.
yeah. Now it's but yeah, Cultus,
Cool.
heartbeat of the world.
Well, I'm happy to be a part of it all.
Yeah, welcome to the West Side.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Well, thanks for coming on,
Thank you.
taking the time.
Thank you for having
Everybody
us.
go check out Hometown Brew Co.
Yep. Eat more strawberries.
Eat more strawberries.
And
Blueberries are also very good for you.
they're very good for you.
Antioxidants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, Rebecca DeHoogie, the people from Delhi, right across the road from the Home Hardware, like on Highway 3, they rented out the crop, and next year they're doing a pick your own
Oh,
of the
cool.
blueberries,
Cool.
and the strawberries from the research center will be sold there too.
Sweet.
So they'll be on the 45, the north side of the 45.
North side.
That's right.
Yeah, they're not as cool.
Not as cool.
They don't understand.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.